gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another MotoGp Mac podcast with Jake, myself, Mac, and
Hello,
how are you
guys.
doing, Jake?
I'm doing great. Getting parts in. Got my Evolution bike. Give them a shout out for sending me bikes. We got a new tailpiece for secondary. We got a spare of the solo tailpiece from the 2018 MVF4RC. That's like getting chicken's teeth to want a spare, because that's the bike when I kick the bucket that Mac's gonna get.
Yes,
Send it across the state.
We will take it to the island and bring
Yes.
Jake, and ride Jake around the island.
Yeah, like that. Like a dead ass.
Yeah. It's been a funny week, Jake. I'll be very honest. Before we get going any further, just so people know, if you can't stand to look at us but like to listen to us, we also put this podcast out on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Google Podcast. So you can just click and listen, and then you don't have to look at our ugly faces.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, better looking.
Hey, at this age, I can't make out in a woman's prison with a carton of cigarettes.
And a dildo.
Yeah.
But anyway, this week, what has been going on this week? So I don't know, have you seen on Instagram, or do you have Instagram, Jay?
I don't. I'm old. I don't use Instagram.
Right, that we're going
Newfangled things.
We're going to set you up on Instagram this week, Jake, and we're going to get you going that you can follow what the riders get up to in between races. This
I don't care what if they were in boxers or briefs. You know, I want to see how good they are. I want to see them on the track.
Well, this answers a question, right? So Fabio Quartararo, as we'll get onto Yamaha later on, but he was out with his buddies on a bike ride and showing off to the camera to do a
pedal bike.
Pedal bike. So he lifted the front wheel up, acting the cool boy.
Yeah, being 22, 23, yeah.
Yeah, and went right straight back over the rear wheel and ended up on his arse. So if he can't handle the power of a mountain bike, I don't know what he's going to do next week when testing kicks off. Like, you know, I'm just like, oh, I know, but it was all in good fun. Also,
Did he get hurt?
No, he was there.
Oh, okay.
Laughing. Do you know what I mean? I think it was more pride was hurt there.
Yeah.
than anything else. What else happened this week? Oh, Ana Carrasco and Alvaro Bautista had a little spat at each other.
Yeah, tell me what happened with that. I didn't hear that one.
So there was testing on for World Superbikes in Jerez this week, and Carrasco was out on a Super Sport, a 600. Now, she wasn't on a full-blown 600 Super Sport. It was more a training bike, let's just call it.
A box stock bike.
Yeah, and Bautista was about, at the start of the straight, he was about half a straight behind her, and into the braking zone, he closed that gap very quickly. Ran wide, lost the front, and whatever. And he basically turned around to Anna publicly on Twitter and said that maybe Anna should go ride with amateurs. So she punched back. Actually, fair play to her. I personally like Anna. I actually reckon Anna would take Alvaro in a fight. Like, I reckon like she would kick the fuck out of him. Like, you know.
Talk about a kick in the ego.
Yeah, right. So she punched back and then and said, "Listen, you know, I came into the corner. I moved over between turn 1 and turn 2 to let you pass, but you were already on the floor."
Okay.
So and look, I get it. Now I don't mind someone having a piss poor attitude or being angry that someone made you crash or whatever.
That happens.
The way I look at this is that she is a world champion.
Yeah.
She's the first world champion. Do you know what I mean? He has one world championship in superbikes. Do you know what I mean? In that kind of paddock. It's very hard. Very, very bad to call her an amateur. You know? I would take that disrespectful. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that is disrespectful. Yes.
And now he said that she should go. Now he didn't actually call her an amateur, but he said she should go ride with amateurs. What
What's
really
same
is funny.
different? One half dozen the other. Yeah.
And that didn't need to go out on Twitter. That just needed to be
No.
dealt with. You know what I mean? So look,
Now, who put it out on Twitter? He didn't put it out on Twitter, did he?
I don't know that he put it out on Twitter, but he made a public statement about it.
Oh, that's shallow. Yeah,
So
that's something between riders.
Yeah, so no, I wasn't ever a big Alvaro fan. Do you know what I mean? I'll stick up for him on the Ducati. Do you know what I mean? Where people say that he had a massive advantage in this, that, and the other.
Blah blah bullshit.
Blah, 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 blah. He still turned the bike around the corners.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and you know what, folks? It has acceleration. The top end is not. It's not like it has all this top end. It just has acceleration because a V4 naturally has more torque. So if they go to hammer him for top end, it's going to kill the bike.
Well, look, the way I look at it is that he an exceptional rider? He's not by any. He's good.
Well, I don't know. You can say he's exceptional in his class, in the World Superbike class.
Yeah, I just don't think he's a standout rider. He's not a rider.
Oh, he's not. He's not a top rack, right?
He's not a top rack. He's not a Ray.
Right.
Like he came into Ducati from MotoGP and he took off in the championship. Then he fucking bottled it, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He went to Honda, then Billy fucking big balls. I'll turn this around and this, that, the other, right? And he fucking stank like a stone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then he went back to Ducati with his tail between his fucking legs. Okay, Scott Redding couldn't win on the Ducati because he was too heavy. So Bautista came in. Bautista is a GP rider by size and weight.
Yes.
That's what he is.
Yep.
Right. He liked the feel off the Ducati. Do you know what I mean? You click with a bike, that's it. Game over. You click with a bike, and that's 3/10 straight away. Do you know what I mean?
In the head. If you have that head, you have that confidence. It goes a long, long way.
Yeah. So anyway, look, like they were testing, but look, we might talk about that a little bit more. I suppose the big news, the big fucking news of the week was Tashi Nishida in whatchamacallit, his news about what happened with Yamaha. And
what a fucking joke. Oh, God. You guys think we're morons. I mean, absolute freaking idiots, Okay, folks,
firstly, I think he needs to go and run for president.
Yeah.
Because he is so politically correct.
Yeah. And he's like Biden. It doesn't make sense that he's lying through his teeth.
It's not even that, right. It's just
it's a bad lie.
I read it right, and then I put down the phone and I went away off and I did something, and then I searched for it again online and I was like, Joe, is this such someone actually just writing a fucking story and clickbaiting people and this, that, and the other? And then I looked and it's like, no, it's actually an official event, right? And then I was like, oh,
April Fools,
So, like, I still can't get over it. Yamaha are a very, very tenured team.
Yes.
They know the testing data points that you have to have your engines ready by this date.
Yes.
Not another date, by this date. It's going to be at this track. No, and whatever. Now, I can understand 100% that if their performance wasn't good because they were coming to the Valencia and all of a sudden then it was changed to Jerez. Do you know what I mean? Where the track specifications, whether whatever, was going to be completely different to what they had. So they wouldn't have a baseline setting.
No, I wouldn't even give them that because, both of those tracks they've been at for the past 20 years. And there's something as simple as a mapping falling out, or God forbid, or gearing, they would know right away. It's so blatant.
Yeah, but even what he was saying with the weather and the temperature and all of this, that's what I'm saying is like the location moving. You could kind of say, okay, well, the weather is going to be like this, or it's 5 degrees lower, or it's whatever. Do you know what I mean?
They got that covered.
And they have, but they do, right? And then I was just reading it, and I was like, as a Yamaha fan, I was actually like, I actually was turned around and felt a little bit fucking disrespected, and my
Yeah,
intelligence
it's like
kind of fucking
it's insulting. It's insulting. Don't insult my intelligence that way.
Yeah, and I was like, like they could have, like, I still, yeah, I just think they were fucking, yeah. I can't fathom it. I was like,
Okay.
how do you not prepare for it properly for a test that you know is coming?
Guys, for the audience, they know with the computers that come back on the bikes and they get the data back, they know exactly when that rider cranks that throttle up, for example, and the exact point on the track when they do it. They know how much they give you, how much they have, how much brake forks they have, how much acceleration, what the RP, every unbelievable amount of information. This would be like a seasoned track day rider saying, "I had a flat tire all day, but I didn't know it." All right, it's just ludicrous. You're going, "What do you mean you didn't know that the gearing was off, or you forgot how to map a bike?" This is amateur stuff.
It's very amateur, and I don't buy it for 1 second with the team, but I'm not going to go into reliability and all of this stuff with Yamaha. We know there's serious questions being asked. I'm asking a lot of serious questions on Yamaha, being very honest, as a fan, not disrespect for anyone, but like there is a lot of engineers coming in. I'm particularly hopeful for Thomas O'Kane that he will actually have a good input. He's a very, very good engineer.
I can tell you one thing. At this point, all right, it is not a question of Thomas O'Kane is coming in there to make the engines last for this new sprint races. That's goal number one. That getting the horsepower and having high horsepower and reliability is so far away, it's off the table now.
It is. But I actually think though that's for all the teams, and I think I think for all the teams, like with the sprint coming in, I think the calculation of engine life is going to be really, really interesting, and how they manage that. Like realistically, you would nearly want your riders to retire.
Yeah,
in the sprint races to maximize your points in the other race, but I just thought it was really interesting. Now, the only bit within his statement that I agreed with was that they're going to be trying new parts or new engine parts in both the Sepang test and more or less the final version of the engine in Portimao. And I think that's going to be the interesting section there. Portimao is really going to be the big test. And remember, the test realistically, so this is going on Monday. So the test is really only 6 days away, 7 days away, that we're going to see them on track, which I am pissing myself with excitement. Like next Saturday now, like I'll just be like a big fairy running around the place. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh, why don't
you make one ugly fairy. I have a picture of you with wings just floating around.
There actually is one of those pictures.
I don't use the whole chicken, but I do use the feather, But anyhow, but people are right. This sprint situation is this longevity. Low horsepower might be the name of the game next year. That might be the surprise where somebody says, "I'm going to turn the horsepower back," and that might be an advantage. We don't know yet.
Exactly. Like
that's a lot of miles to make up.
Yeah, look, that's
race miles.
It's interesting, right? To see is like, what is the maximum you can run your engine at to keep the maximum amount of power for the maximum amount of time.
Right.
It's a good engineering challenge. You know what I mean? It's something. So I expect within the shakedown test that we see an awful lot of long runs. Do you know what I mean? To up the mileage to see what the wear is at the end of that 3 days.
Yamaha won't. They're going to pump up that horsepower because of all this press.
Not with the they might pump it up with Crutchlow, but I don't think with Ryder.
Somebody they're going to go, look, we can do it. We have horsepower. They're for the press because they've been catching all kind of hell for it, and they're going to do it the first 2 races. They're paying you money. I bet my bottom dollar on that.
Yeah. Oh, listen, look, I don't disagree. I think that they have to
Yes.
sacrifice an engine.
Yeah. Boy, this is not a
And
time to want to sacrifice an engine.
well, it kind of is because I don't know what the technicalities of the sprint race. And hear me out in this, right? Because I was only, I was having a Joe, the way you lie down in bed sometimes and you say, "Oh, I'm really tired, I want to go to sleep," and then your brain turns around and goes, "Ah,
Yeah.
oh, what
Yeah.
about this?"
Oh, yeah.
So do you know engine penalties? Right?
I thought about that too. I know what you're going to say again.
Take your engine penalty in the sprint race. Done. So if you're Yamaha or you're whatever, right, and it's a track that you know you're not going to score well on anyway, take the penalty.
Explain that penalty to me, because I'm not getting with that. You're starting to lose me on that.
So the penalty, if you take another, if you go outside your allocation of any,
Okay.
you have to take a penalty, which is a pit lane start. Pit lane start.
Right, but that's after you've gone through the now 9 engines. It was 8 last year, but now it's 9. Okay. You have to go through all the 9. So
no. You don't have to go through them. You just have to have those engines sealed.
Okay, all right. But you start with 9 sealed engines. Yeah, but don't you have to use up the 9 before you get penalized? You have to be like, I'm out of engines. I burned up all 9.
No, they just have to be sealed.
Oh, so if you unseal one,
no. So yeah. So I think it is the way that like they could run one engine to the maximum, Joe, to be and seal and move to it. But you can strategically put in at what point in the season, when am I going to need another engine? So this comes back to the whole engine mileage thing. So let's just say, for example, Yamaha has struggled particularly in circuits that have a long straight. So let's just take Kota, for example.
Right.
They normally struggle there and whatever top end. So they could technically say we're going to take an engine penalty in Kota. So what they would do is they would go through the engines then, and they would, even if they had to get rid of one engine, they would get rid of engine number 1 because that would have the highest mileage of anything. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so they couldn't use that for the whole rest of the year, you're telling me.
So yeah, but they could just bring in a brand new fresh engine at a strategic point within the year. Do you know what I mean? So it's
that's not a penalty. Isn't that just a normal way of operating?
Yeah, but see, here's what it is. I don't think by regulation, when do you take the pit lane start? Is it for both races, or is it just for the sprint? So I could take my 9th engine. I could take my 10th engine the next race, start the sprint race in the thing, not really give a fuck about it. Do you know what I mean? Go out and win the fucking other race because I have my full engine on full beans. All the way down.
Oh, okay. If it works that way, okay.
But but it's not. But see, this is the thing. Remember, I was saying a couple of weeks ago, the rules and regulations for the sprint race are not fully defined yet.
Yeah. Also, I have a question for you.
So technically, you're starting the race. According to the regulations, when you take the new engine, you're starting the next race from.
Okay. Yeah.
The next race is a sprint race.
Right.
Only half the damage because of the
points. Exactly. Right.
Do you know what I mean? So.
But I have a question.
They probably close this now, fuckers.
Yeah. When you say you had this loophole where you said, I can go and I can rebuild my engine if I have a design flaw and I blow it up. Okay.
Yep.
Can Yamaha say, I'm at my design end?
Nope.
And say, I have an inherent problem. The crank is too long, it's too heavy, and it's blowing up.
Yeah. You're banned now from saying crank is too long, too heavy, or whatever until we see the bikes on track. Just saying.
No, but that uses that as a
I know what you mean. No, they can't. Like they would have to go to the FIM and show how they drastically changed the engine design or the crank design from this year to last year's crank, and that is causing the root cause of the problem. However, if in a way, like you would have to build in the unreliability when the engines are sealed for the reliability to be the throughout the season. Does that make sense?
Yes, but that's my point. That's exactly my point. You can say, well, it's inherent to it. So it was.
Yeah. So
we have to fix this problem, which you and I and Dorna know. Well, you really know that you're stuck with it, But
no. So
we know you're not gonna fix it, but we're gonna act like we're gonna fix it. We're just gonna freshen it up every time.
No. So what they would have to do there, So firstly, they couldn't, because what they would have to do is redesign the crank, right? But they would also have to prove the unreliability. So that would take 3 or 4 public explosions. Let's just.
Oh, okay. So you need 3 or 4. What I'm saying, what I was thinking? They'd say, okay, not that they would fix it, but they would freshen the engine. So it would they'd always come there with a rebuild engine.
No.
So they could make one engine. It would be like, you blow up one. Oh, we need we need to work on it.
No,
freshen it.
So like
last one.
Like, unless there's imminent failure
Right.
every time within it, that would cause the reliability issue. If it's a high wear issue due to running high horsepower, that's not a reliability issue. That is a design issue that they should have discovered within testing, because they don't have enough testing, but they should have been able to do the mileage in the test days.
Yeah.
Get an understanding, to complete race simulations, to understand the wear rate on that engine at a certain horsepower.
I was in politics, so I got more angles than the Pentagon.
No doubt, yeah, no doubt. But I just think, like coming out and saying what he's saying, it was a slap in the face to a lot of fans.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think they're going to come out. They're going to have the horsepower turned up. I'm interested to see how Crutchlow will go against the other test riders. Do you know what I mean? Like, in my view, right, as a fan, Crutchlow needs to be beating them like by half a second.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm not sure if he can.
I don't know. Think about it. I think he's gonna take Franco. He'll beat him like he did last year, right?
No, yeah, but I think like Danny Petroza is out there. Do you know what I mean? On a somewhat sorted KTM. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think he could, like, if fucking Petroza beats Crutchlow on the fucking KTM, do you know what I mean? That's a warning to everyone.
I put my money on Pedrosa. Sorry, all day.
So
on that one.
So look, I think it'll be interesting. And actually, it's good. Actually, Pedrosa is actually going to be doing a wild card in Spain this year on the KTM.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't see they came out with their new KTM, the livery and all that. But I think they were using the old frame, because I was looking for that frame book up. And it's the old frame.
It's actually going out on Saturday's video.
Okay, so it wasn't me. I was like, oh shit, they went back to the old one, because I love new stuff. Guys, I want to see. Being I'm a tech head, I like to see variety. I like to see an inline 4 still on the grid up against the D4s. So that's just me.
What I found actually very funny was during the week was Ducati are starting to show some of their new aerodynamic changes.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Did you notice?
Yeah, I noticed. It's very slight. It's not big.
The side wing normally curved in the middle, but it's now straight. Now I don't know is that going to turn up on the track next week, but a lot of the stuff that they use is, and even from Formula 1 days, I noticed that your launch car is never the first car that turns up on the first time. Do you know what I mean? So I think, like, the only thing I really noticed more so about KTM's launch and Miller was, I think this is the first time I've ever seen Jack Miller wear Alpine stairs.
Okay, well, it is the first time he wore it. Then he said something like that, and he's wearing an Alpine Stars helmet too.
Is it an Alpine helmet? I didn't see I didn't see the helmet, but
you couldn't tell because of the livery on it, but they had a picture with it. And they said he's using the Alpine Star helmet with him.
Yeah. So it's the first time away from Dainese, which I just thought was interesting. That was the biggest thing that I actually noticed, and as well, I suppose, he's definitely had a few barbecues in the off season.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Look, he's. I'm really excited to see him on the KTM. Actually, And another thing that I'm really hopeful, and genuinely I'm hopeful that he does it, is that he becomes the first person ever to win on 3 manufacturers.
Is he the first?
He'll be the first, yeah.
First in MotoGP. You're not counting going from.
No, the current MotoGP, like
Yeah, okay,
500s to thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean you're not counting 125s, 250s. Some people think
no. In the big class.
In the big class, right?
Yeah, in the big class. So like I'm dying for him to actually fucking do that. Like, do you know what I mean? I think that would be like that'd be one like. You know, when you talk about greatest of all time, you could actually like it's a stat that you could put into the argument and say, well, like he didn't win a world championship,
but he's versatile. He's that.
But he's the only person to win on 3 bikes. Do you know what
yes,
I mean?
he's like that workhorse that just plugs away and plugs away and plugs away.
Mm.
You know what's really surprising with him? He said, and I've seen it on an interview. He did this long interview, and he says, "I never look at the data. I'm not. I just tell the engineers, and I sit down and what they want, and that's it."
Mm.
And KTM picked him up for his setup ability. They say, right? But he's saying it's not. So he doesn't. He's like, I'm not a good setup guy. I'll tell you right now.
But it's the translation between the feel and the data. Like if you can get someone that's really good at data, and you can get someone that's really good at feel, and if he's accurate to how he feels and what the data shows, so like if he's really good to say an initial break point in turn 3, this is what I'm feeling, and that correlates to what they're seeing on data, then he's a fucking brilliant setup guy.
Yeah.
Because you could turn around to him and say, Paul or Brad is having a problem in sector 3. This is what the data is saying. They can relate what he's also saying if the other rider is shit at giving feedback. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think
feedback. People understand that the rider is not an engineer. His job is to paint a picture for the engineer, so he can do his job. It's the engineer who's really setting that bike up.
Exactly.
Leon Kamier was the best setup guy in MotoGP in World Superbike. When he went to MV, they changed the guy who was supposed to be faster than him, literally on the bike, like you do a faster lap time. And the guy was so bad for setup, the bike was hopping like this. He had a bike that was coming in 4th, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was 19th because the bike was hopping, and he was screaming at the team. I know what I'm talking about. Blah blah. What do they call him? The Spanish Elvis. I forget his name, but
I don't know who he is.
Real like me, but a little Spanish guy, big mouth, you know.
But yeah, it's critical that you have one of those guys, and like Ducati said it like in not so technical words. Like he's like, we brought Jack in because he gets on with the team. He's a team builder. He also rode a really good bike last year and knows what it feels like.
Yes, that was a real screw, wasn't it?
And so like and like bringing in the Ducati engineers that they are doing, you know, I still think Brad will probably edge Jack at the end of the season. There's something about Brad that I'll be very honest that I just think he has that. I'll fucking cut the neck off you, like. You know what I mean? A warrior sort of thing. Jack gets determined, like, and I'd put my hands up straight away and say he gets very determined. Like Argentina 2018, probably never see anyone risk it for a fucking biscuit like he did.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, coming over through those S's, but like I think Jack is there actually more to knit the team together and give the feedback on what it is. Will he win? I think he'll definitely win a race in the 2 years. I'm not sure whether it will be this year or next year. And I think it'll be very, very interesting. I do expect Brad should beat him this year for sure with the year's experience. But Guidotti did say in the interview, he's like, why we brought new people in is that we only had people that had only ever ridden a KTM.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
it's true. It's odd too, isn't it?
It's not sustainable. Now, I do think personally, I know Oliveira wanted to leave himself and whatever, but if they had Paul, Oliveira, Jack, and Brad this year, that would have been a formidable team.
Yeah.
A lot of feedback, Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? I don't believe in it. I think that it's better for them to have Oliveira and Binder on a different team, but given the same parts.
But they do. Like
Right?
like
It's
Paul.
better to do that than have both on the same team because then you're going to turn into a situation. I think that has more tendency to turn into a situation where you have like Pecco and Bassani, where
Bezzecchi.
Not Bastianini, right? Where they're stepping on each other.
Yeah, and we'll get into those two in a minute, but like like the way it was supposed to be was that Oliveira was actually supposed to go to Gas.
Mm-hmm.
But Gas is a full works team.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it will be full works parts. So I just think, I think having Paul and Oliveira in that team and Jack and Binder in the other team, I think it would have been a really strong development cycle or thing for KTM. Do you know what I mean? Plus, majority of them are very good racers. I think Paul has a bit of reputation building to do, being very honest. To come back from the Honda disaster, let's call it that way. But like I think I thought it was very interesting that, and I said this in Saturday's video, that they brought Jack in because he knows what a good bike looks and feels like. They brought Paul in because he knows what a bad bike feels like.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And if they can get someone in the middle, and remember, KTM were second in the championship last year, the team's championship. So the pedigree is there. Do you know what I mean? Will they win the championship? I think it's very, very hard for them to win it. But
they're not going to win. But I tell you, the way they're talking and the way the insiders are talking, like Simon, guys, you should really watch that Simon interview we had on the podcast. It's very, very important. They're going to make a big jump because Bender said this is his best year, the best chance they've ever had, and you could tell when he's talking about it, he said it was true. It wasn't just fluff. The fluff that the KTM handed him said, "Say this,"
No. He was
his words.
It was genuinely he was excited, and look, I have to take my hat off to KTM, and like even in the interview with Simon was discussing about how they invited him to the factory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was walking around watching the frame being built, which was their current frame. Like they're really an open door. Now to respected press people, I would assume, like for others that piss them off, I don't think they would be as open. But
Matt Oxley, Matt Oxley, he always goes where it's bread and butter.
There's a few of them, unfortunately, but I just think, look, it's good. It'll be good to see them up there. And look, I'd love to see Jack win it, and especially for that reason, mainly that I'd love to see him win on 3 different manufacturers and take a title, and like no one could ever take that off him.
Yeah, and I'm a tech head, especially I like chassis, race chassis engineering, to have something different. That it's different and it's old, but it takes a lot of engineering. It takes something that's an old tech and super refine it. That also takes a ton of engineering skills.
But look,
you're finding something that's been looked over a million times and trying to find something new in it. I mean, think about that.
Little nuggets like that that Simon gave us about it being a C channel and that it's 3D, that it's 3D printed. So it's all like look they're really up there. Ducati launching. And I'm absolutely 100% delighted. I don't care what anyone says. Number 1 is back, baby. Has to. Now, do I think he was forced to run number 1? Absolutely. Yep. That's why number 63 is written in it as well. But look, that's a commercial thing. And look, you can't blame Ducati. And look, for me, right? And there's arguments about a rider's brand and this, that, and the other, right? So strip all the money away from it. Strip absolutely everything away from it. Yeah. The first time that kid, as a young boy, throws his leg over the bike, what number does he dream of running?
Number 1. Every time. Without an exception.
And in the MotoGP class, every single year, there's only one person, unless they retire, can have the right to wear that number.
But it's bad juju.
Well, no, Johnny Ray defended it successfully a couple of times.
That's
Do you know
one
what I mean?
guy. I swear to God, it is bad juju. The last guy you think, a tech guy, I think
I
they're
used-
gonna be the last guy to say no.
I used to think that too about cameras cause crashes, right? Do you know what I mean? But if you
Yeah.
put that into your own fucking head, that is bad juju.
Yeah,
And
true.
you're bringing that around your own self, right?
Yeah,
And you have a fucking excuse, right? If you get beaten fairly in the championship, whether you wear number 1 or whether you wear number 63, if you're beaten fairly, you're beaten, right?
yes, yeah.
Now, if you fuck up and fall, and then you only have yourself to blame. It's not the number on the front of the bike. Did you know what I mean? But look, I know Rossi and all of them, and they wore number 1 and the thing, and there's a lot of people on the site said, "Oh, it's about their brand and this, that, and the other." Firstly, I agree and I disagree. Would you buy a T-shirt with number 1 on it with your favorite rider to commemorate them winning the world championship? Absolutely.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Number 2, your rider gear and branding changes every single year. Whether you have number 1 on it, whether you have number 63 on it, you're going to have a new hat, you're going to have a new T-shirt, you're going to have a new logo, Joe. I don't buy that because you're going to change your race number, your branding is going to change. If you change category, yeah, your brand changes then, right? But if you're in MotoGP, every single year there's new T-shirts, there's new branding, there's new logos. You can't go away and buy a 2017 Valentino Rossi T-shirt now. Do you know what I mean? Because the 2018 and the 2019 and the 2021 T-shirt all were replacing those. So, and then kind of like finally, there's not a lot of riders out there that keep their brand the same. How many riders keep the same style helmet? None. They all change their helmet throughout the year. The helmet design, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking branding. I was going to say they keep their brand.
No, but go back 10, 15 years ago, a rider never changed his helmet.
Rossi brought that out. Rossi was the one that made that.
But that was Joe, that was like your helmet design was your brand. Randy Mamola, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You saw the black, white, red. You knew exactly who that was.
Kenny Roberts was the same thing. The
do you know what I mean? So
yellow, white, and black.
That's, for me, that was their brand, right? Now, every year, you know, you can buy 100 Rossi T-shirts or you can buy 100 Pecco T-shirts. There's different styles and the change. So it's not as a big deal to change the style or brand anymore. Like when Mir won it, he actually changed his logo because he changed the I in the middle to a 1, even though he ran 36.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm delighted that it's back. I don't think it should be mandatory, but I think it should be highly suggested that you do use it because.
But somebody said that. Was it mandatory years ago? I thought it was years ago that it was mandatory. Ago, yeah. Yes, because I go way back, and I thought, hold a second, the 70s, I think it was mandatory.
Yeah. You had to wear it. And look,
matter of fact, they used to do 1, 2, 3. It was the 1, 2, 3, 4 was the mandatory. It was the first 4 everybody had to run. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure I was going crazy.
I just think it's I think it's just the way it is. Do you know what I mean? I think it was. For me, it's the right thing. Do you know what I mean? You've worked and dreamed all your life to go as a motorbike rider. That when you started off in whatever it is, PB 50s, and then moving into mini bikes and whatever, you know, you've decided you want to be a road racer and you want to go to MotoGP. And what's the one thing you want to be? Is a MotoGP world champion. And what do MotoGP world champions do? Where? 1. Now, maybe that's what we grew up with, right? Maybe that's changed now for young fellas coming up.
Well, that came with NASCAR. I think the whole thing started with NASCAR with the Terminator, whatever his name is, Earnhardt. He kept his number 3 or something of that nature.
Well, no, NASCAR, it's the car number. It's not the number. So
I don't know. Hillbillies, go fast, go left. You know.
Oh, man.
We all do it. I'm going fast, going left. No, I was there. I've been there. They are stupid son of a bitches, let me tell you.
Fucking brilliant racing. 3 laps to go. Yeah, let's wreck everyone.
Yeah. Good, like Rex is great, but if other than that,
Yeah.
one guy, they're like Formula One, where if it's within 100 yards, it's a close finish.
Yeah.
Bullshit. So I'm just worried about. I'm dying. When is the? It's the 5th, right? For
next
the
Sunday.
thing. I'm dying to see what's going on.
Yeah.
But I can almost see it coming. Everybody's going to be waiting for Yamaha to have this high number for that, and they're going to get it. I just wonder if it's going to blow up. That's my thing. If I would just laugh my ass off at this point if it just blew its brains out, and it couldn't happen. Don't think it can.
Well, look, it's a big, 2 big long straights in Sepang.
Yeah. Yes. Oh shit! I didn't think about that. Yeah. So, Jesus.
So yeah, look, it'll be very interesting. I can't wait to see what actually happens there. I suppose Honda testing are doing the pre-shakedown test. I thought it was quite interesting that they did a 2-day test. I would have thought it would have been just a 1-day test, just to kind of go through, say, the motions, make sure that nothing falls off the bike. Do you know what I mean? While they were testing.
Well, they are screaming for open testing now. You notice that everybody's talking about it all the time now, and it's due. It needs to be done. It's all. For one time, Dorna has to put their head between their tail between their legs and say, "We screwed up." And it's ironic because it was Honda that pushed for the short testing, and now who needs it the most? They thought, "Oh, we have Marquez. We don't want the other guys making better bikes than us. Let's cut out the testing so they won't catch us or surpass us too badly," because they were always behind. All right.
Yeah.
So.
No. Look, firstly, I think that it will never happen. I don't think Dorna can. I think that was not a two-way door decision. Do you know what I mean? And I think Dorna told Honda this: if we do this, there is no coming back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they told them. Remember, they wanted it again, and they're like, "Well, now we've stuck up for you twice. Now we really look like an ass if we switch back."
Yeah. So, and then there's the like. I was surprised that it was a test, and the reason I was surprised that they stuck it on a 2-day test, right, was that Bradle was saying after the test that the temperature was really, really low, and that the tires were barely getting in the window, so they couldn't actually get any useful running in.
Really?
Yeah.
They went from a 220-degree swing arm temp to they're running their engine temperature is running too low now.
No, not their engine, their tire temp.
Oh! You threw me there. I had engine temp in my head. Yeah.
No. So they couldn't get any mini or much meaningful data out of it, because now, saying that, look, I'll be honest. Anytime a bike starts, there's data, right?
Yeah.
But they couldn't get any meaningful chassis data because the tires weren't getting into the they were getting hot, but they weren't hot enough. Push.
Right?
So
I think a tough time as this because Bradle, he runs like 1.5, 2 seconds slower than their top like Mir or Rins or
he's about a second and a half.
Yeah. So that I don't know why they have him as a tester to begin with. He's not fast enough to be a tester.
I'd say he's faster than the ones they have in Japan.
Okay. Is the lesser the other evils? Or
yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You think they could get a test rider if they're paying all this money to have the best riders? Okay.
Yeah.
You think they could shovel out of that? That is Japan's whole Billy
question. Pick a rider. Pick one now that would be within a second of the team of any moto or of their fast riders. Name any rider that's
grab a Moto 2 guy. You know,
most Moto 2 guys.
Have it as a prep for say, listen, we're thinking about putting you up in MotoGP eventually. So
they can't.
Yeah,
they can't.
Can't do that.
No.
You know how much I follow the rules on that. Maybe it's just my nature. I never follow the rules.
No, they can't. And look, there's no point. Like he might be fast, but he had no fucking idea what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? And like I think the test rider's role is actually becoming more and more important. Like,
Oh yeah,
like
without a doubt.
right, like KTM are in quite a big lot of trouble, right? You have Mick Callio, who is at 40 now, is it's game over for him, right? And KTM have kind of said it, but Pedrosa is 37. They only have 2 or 3 more years of Pedrosa. So they're bringing in Joe. Do you remember Folger?
Yeah.
They're bringing him in, but like that's the problem. Is not like you can get riders to ride the bike, but get fast riders to ride the bike. And this is why I'm always saying that Zarco
That give you good feedback.
Yeah, this is why Zarco I think will go. He'll do a few years with Ducati. Do you know what I mean? Piero is in around the same age group as him, but like really, what they're looking for is a 27 or 28-year-old rider that's within a second of Marc Marquez.
Yeah. I remember I was telling you where you go up in sixes and down in sixes.
Yeah.
In reflexes, you go up in sixes in your life, and then you kind of plateau at 30, and then you start going down. There's a big kick between 30 and 36, right? Then a big, huge kick is from 36 to 42. And what happens
right, I'm 43. I'm past that.
Yeah.
I'm grabbed again, so. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, or is it I'm fucked even more?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I don't want to say it, but, but you're my friend. But boxing and motorcycle racers are close where they train their size and all that. But that kick, they call it the alarm clock because it happens so fast. You can have a guy and his reflexes are X, right? Yeah. And then 6 months later, they're way off. It happens overnight. Like it's just, and it does. All of a sudden, you're like, "What the hell's wrong with me?" And it never changes. Yeah. All of a sudden, your timing's off and your accuracy's off. Remember, I was telling you, hitting that bag and you put a sticker on it. You used to be able to hit it like boom, 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 and hit it right on the money, right? And all of a sudden, you're to the right, to the left, and no matter how hard you try. It happens, and it happens like an alarm clock. It rings, and you're screwed. So
look, age comes to us all, I suppose, and look, it's done gracefully. But I suppose where I'm going with this is like it's nearly impossible to find a fast but young enough test rider to build a full development plan. And what I'm talking now is like a 5 or 6 year development cycle of a bike. Yeah, it's very hard to find that. Do you know what I mean? And like. Honda, that's where I believe Honda are in trouble, and Yamaha are going to get in there and in trouble too because when Crutchlow goes, who do they have? Who is going to go?
But then again, think about it. If you don't get into MotoGP, right? Those riders, if they don't have MotoGP or Moto2, they're not making any money. Okay.
Yeah.
They're carpenters making squat because they don't have any other skills. Let's call a spade a spade. So at least. As a manufacturer, say, listen, pal, you're just not good enough to be in the top tier of a rider. At least we can pay you a good wage for a long time.
Oh yeah, but look, but I suppose the question there, Jake, is a young fella coming up from Moto2, just say, right?
Yeah.
Right. They don't have enough time per season to develop him. To ride and understand the MotoGP bike. You want a person coming in there that already understands a MotoGP bike and understands what exactly is good, what is bad. Do you know what I mean? To get your bang for the buck. If you had open testing, yes, your plan would work 110% because you could do full 6 months with this guy. Baiting around the stupid track somewhere, do you know what I mean, and bring on the evolution. But with 120 tires a year, it's just not enough time.
True. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. Yeah, it's a dead end there.
So the test rider is fucking crucial now, and like. I think Ducati have done it really, really well with Piero. Now, Piero hated Delinea because Piero wanted to race eventually, and that's why they've set up the race program for him. So he can race the CIV Superbike, World Superbike, and MotoGP. So
got a great lead in for that, by the way. Not to cut you short, but I want to say this. remember we were talking about how the difference of how many engineers you need if you have open testing, you have track testing, and what they have now is a computer simulation program.
Mhm.
That's it. Do you know how many engineers they had just on doing computer simulation at Ducati?
No.
This is Ducati. This isn't Honda. This isn't Yamaha. These aren't the big money teams. Remember? We all got to remember that Ducati only sells 60,000 bikes a year.
Yeah.
They have 160 engineers, and all they do is put on that computer with a simulation. That's how much it screws them up not having open testing. That's how much shit they got to throw against the wall, the guesstimates.
Oh yeah, but listen, look, and I know Ducati is a small factory, right? But that has a massive manufacturer behind it.
Oh yes, Audi, and they're into racing. They're going into Formula One. And don't you think that they're not meshing the two together?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Listen, like you have no idea of what is coming. Like for the likes of Audi, right? They fund, I would presume, an awful lot of the Ducati MotoGP and racing functions, right? And that's a really nice tax write-off for them.
Yes. That's why they say that Ducati has a combustion chamber that's different than everybody else's. And that's right straight out of Audi's Formula One study,
Well, no, they don't have no, it's not. So the
Audi they're engine, developing.
The Audi engine, but it is definitely out of the Audi race department where that engineering, and like that's the beauty, I suppose, for Ducati, that they have a manufacturer. Now they're going to have a Formula One team in 2026 or 24. I think they're taking over.
I thought it was 26, but
it'll be official Audi in 2026. But I think the team that they bought, they're taking over in 2024.
But I thought their engine program they've already started in Audi.
Oh, they have the engine. Yeah, the Audi engine won't be in the back of the car till 2026.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying, they're still working on that. They started working on the Audi engine program, but I'm sure that floats into the Ducati too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, there has to be IP transfer.
And one floats into the other because you know why? The Audi or all manufacturers for the car engines use what they call mule engines. They use a smaller engine, and they work on the first thing they do is they work on the combustion chambers and then figure it out from there. They'll figure a small engine, how to work there, and then add.
Yeah, so Audi actually built an engine, or the Porsche, I can't remember which group of them built it, but there is actually a Formula One engine, so they have a baseline already from the current regulations.
I thought that was Porsche, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one of them, but look, it's the Audi, it's the group that they're all involved in, and realistically.
Oh, I thought I saw they said absolutely that the Porsche and Audi split on their partnership for the engine.
Yeah, that was when Porsche thought they were going to buy half of Red Bull Racing, and Red Bull told them fuck off.
Okay, so they're back together again.
So now Porsche have to find a team to buy into, which I think will actually be just an engine deal or whatever. I don't know. But other news, I suppose. Anyone who likes Jorge Lorenzo should definitely check out his Instagram. He was doing some fucking dancing show.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I was just like, multiple time world champion dancing on the fucking stage. I think it was something reenactment of himself and Rossi in Jerez or something.
Oh, that just sounds pathetic.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh man. Then I didn't think it could get worse for him, and then I saw him standing next to an electric fucking scooter, electric, and I was just like, that's fucking blasphemy. But yeah.
What about the hybrid, the Ghost, the Ducati electric hybrid motorcycle?
Well, I know Ducati were this is so Delinea.
I threw up in my mouth when I said that.
Delinea and Byra or someone, or I can't remember, but they were in a forum one time, and someone asked them, would you be interested in a hybrid MotoGP bike? And Delaney was like, yeah, that would be a very interesting study. And, how could you do real pure? You could see like an engineer, like he was like, how do I sync the drive systems now? And you could see the brain was starting to go. And then your man from KTM was like, not gonna fucking happen ever. It was just like,
Yeah.
fuck off, no way.
And you know why they do that, by the way? They're not interested in it. There's a loophole. If it's that grouped the group admissions situation where if they make this hybrid, okay, that gives them credits against the street bikes, so they can run a dirtier street bike if they run a cleaner this hybrid, and it doesn't go by miles. All it does is go, okay, this one runs X amount of hydrocarbons, this one is X, and then they average it out.
Yeah.
But you could have, they only made two and they're sitting in some warehouse because nobody bought them, or they're under glass somewhere.
Well, I have to admit, right, there was one afternoon I did watch the whatever it is, the electric cup or whatever it is.
Shame on you.
And the racing was brilliant, right? Now they're like fucking tanks, right?
Yeah.
They were but like they were giving it hard to each other, right?
Yeah.
But I was just like, Joe, the way you have that confused look at your face when you're like, all right, but where's the fucking sound? Do you know what I mean? It was just so like I will give it to him, right? That the racing was good, but there's no atmosphere. There's nothing to enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Like they come around the corner, right? But you wouldn't be hearing them.
Yeah,
right.
They can hit you. You wouldn't know it. Yeah,
they're gone, and you're like, so. Like, and Ducati are actually launching their electric one now for the Moto E. Isn't it? Isn't it this year? It looks.
Moto E, I think so. Yeah.
I had a look at it. I thought it does look a killer bike, but it weighs an absolute fucking ton. Then, like.
Oh God, yeah, it's like 600 pounds or some ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
But it's like turbines. It doesn't have the fact that it's electric. If you had a turbine motorcycle, that would work. Like the SCP car. Yeah. But it would just be like, it would just be boring as hell.
Yeah. Like, and listen, look, like, I know people were on about, the show and the cost of going to MotoGP and whatever, right? But, like, if you go to a good track and you find your spot that you want to see your bikes coming, like, my spot is looking back up the straight in turn 1 in Catalonia, right? They all come into a bones of a 90-degree right-hand turn, but like you see the whole pack coming towards you, right? And whether it's Moto 3, it's like a bunch of angry fucking bees. Right?
Yeah.
Moto 2, I'll be very honest, I kind of stand back maybe 2 or 3 steps from where I would normally.
And they got better because the 3-cylinder sounds cool.
Yeah,
the Triumphs.
Yeah.
And talk about a reliability record. Oh my God, that'll never be beat.
And then MotoGP, you're kind of waiting for something to happen, so you're ready to duck. Do you know what I mean? But you're still kind of looking. I should actually invent a periscope that I could just sit behind the crash barrier, look through the glass in case someone does come flying at the fence. But for me, then, and like that's like I go there and then I go back up into the grandstand, and I can see them coming through turn 1, turn 2, and the entrance to turn 3. And then they go around turn 4 and like see him coming down into the crash zone in turn 5. And I'm like, I have it down to a T. I know where I want to go. And then, walking up to the track in the mornings, you'll know the different sounds of the bikes, and you'll be like, that's a Honda, that's a Yamaha, that's a KTM.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then of course, obviously, then you're a Valentino Rossi fan in the middle of a load of Marc Marquez fans.
Yeah, I don't know what Marquez is going to do this year. I mean, the poor bastards is Marquez and Quartararo. Again, back to the Simon Crafar podcast. It is not just now, folks. The Japanese and the European manufacturers. The Japanese always had the weaker engineering. The Europeans had the stronger engineering. Even when Ducati just came in, they were stronger. All right. And the Japanese always bought the best riders to make up the difference. And that they count on having the best riders to get their ass out of a sling by having weaker, inferior bikes. They know they have a weaker, inferior bike, and they go, "Oh,
Yeah,
we'll
but
get this ride."
commercially, it makes
They've
sense.
done that.
It makes sense.
Commercially, it makes sense, yeah, because it's cheaper to do it that way, and it's a known entity for them. Because Japanese just aren't strong engineers; they copy, they don't innovate. As a race, they're just, even they are saying now, like Honda and Yamaha are saying, we're just getting European engineers because now we want to innovate. Like Honda, when Mr. Honda said that too when he started up, he says, "I don't want Japanese engineers. He goes, I don't like the way they do it. But if I'm going to have Japanese engineers, I want new kids that are just out of college. They're full of piss and vinegar, right?
Yeah.
And they'll come up with new ideas, and I'll encourage them that, okay, it's okay to be wrong." And, where Europeans, they learn by their mistakes. The Japanese, they don't. Once they get off, they'll follow a dead idea over a cliff. So don't expect to have this new innovation coming from the Japanese. It's just not their blood.
Yeah, but look, and I think Mikey actually was on to me, and I still actually haven't got back to you. I apologize, Mikey. But there's a guy actually on YouTube, and he talks actually about the Japanese mentality.
Yeah,
and it's really interesting to see that. Look,
they work hard. They work like a bitch.
Yeah, they're extremely committed and loyal, but they're extremely afraid to innovate and take risks. And MotoGP is an era now, and
I don't dislike Honda. None of us, we don't dislike any manufacturer. We're just calling it like we see them. Like one guy goes, "Don't pick on me because I have a Honda," and he's got a Cessna. When I remember, Cessna's a new guy, not good guy, right? I wrote back to him, and he has because he got a CB 1000 RRR, not an RRR, the RR. He's going to be happy as a pig in shit because I said, "No, you made the right decision. The triple R is a lemon. You dodged a bullet." I said, "You got the good one." So that's a good bike.
The triple R is like a production special, is it?
That's the new new Honda Superbike, but it's a freaking lemon.
I'm going to start an argument here, right?
Okay, let's go.
Right, and it's more so actually people will argue. Well, we'll probably argue about this, right? So, my absolute hate of specials. So special road bikes, do you know what I mean?
I don't like them, but there's here. I don't see the point. They keep failing. It seems like a failed entity. So why not?
But
they all have them now.
But basically, Superbike base those bikes off. Sorry, Superbikes base the bikes that they enter into Superbike Championship off the SP bikes. Let's just call them special production bikes, right?
Oh, I got something to tell you about that. You'll get a kick out of it.
Right. So do you remember when we were talking about? Do you remember when we were talking about road bike relevance? The excuses or whatever. I'm like, should Superbike racing be more relatable to the main bike that they're selling?
Yeah.
So if I go and buy an R1, right? Now the R1 is probably a poor example, actually, right? Because
they have an M.
They have an M, which is affordable, right? And
Well,
what I mean,
30 grand, 34 grand.
Yeah, it's about 20 grand in Ireland.
No, it's in the 30. It's in the 30.
No. It's about 20.
Really?
Yeah. The production.
I'll look that up on you.
The R1 is about 15,000. So the
No,
R1
no, get the hell out of here. It's not that. It's up more than that.
Nope. Standard R1, about 15,000 euros.
Euros and dollars the same now.
Yeah,
God damn it! I wish I had some kind of technical wizardry.
Well,
look it up.
If I was going to buy the Ducati Panigale, just the standard one is 25 grand, right? The R1 is 25 grand.
No. The S is 25 grand.
Or the S, sorry. If I move to the R, is 30. If I move to the Panigale Special, or
those special ones are ridiculous. Yeah, they just put new paint jobs on.
They're 70, 80 grand, right? And then like
whoa, not that much.
They're I think 60 something. Now, this is the one with the acro pipes and the
yeah. They're $40,000.
60 something landed in Ireland. We have an extra tax called VRT on everything. So obviously
Jesus
the higher,
Christ.
yeah.
Yeah, they're about
So,
40 grand here. They're like 40 grand.
so they're specials, and I'm like, okay, what's special about them? And there's this, there's that, there's the other, and I'm like, should Superbike race like? I go back to the old days of the TT, right? Or not the old days of the TT, right? When
Oh, no
production,
grandpa stuff.
no,
Okay.
no, but a production bike, right? Part of the rule of the production bike was that it still had to have, you could put a fart can on it, right?
Mhm.
But it still had to have the number plate holder on it to show
Okay.
that so like the mountings for the number plate holder. And so if they could go back and you look at the kind of the early 2000s production class, and the reason that I'm going along about this is like on the V4S, what is relevant to the V4 special? Probably fucking nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it would have carbon this, carbon that, carbon the other. Complete different fucking bike in my view, because it would weigh 10 times less. Well, sorry, it wouldn't, 10-15% less. Do you know what I mean? That would change. The engine is turned up. That special oil that adds, what is it, 5 horsepower?
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
don't
not.
buy that
But
one either. But
anyway,
yeah,
but look again. Look, that's
but
kind
they
of like
also have rods in all the Ducatis now where the oil passes through the rod like a Formula One
yeah,
hot
yeah.
rod. I mean, they really do put
I,
heavy tech into the motor, into the engine, the transmission, the chassis, the whole 9 yards.
I get it, but look, there's
And that goes down you look, you keep thinking about the SP or those goofy ones where they have an S and they
Yeah.
put all kind of frizzly paint jobs and shit on them, and it costs as much as an R does. And the R is the one they take for racing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
just
then there's the special version of the R. That's the one they homologate for racing.
No, they just homologate the R. I think they did it this year. They have a special R, but it's really just a paint job.
Yeah,
It's an
but
R
it's
with a special paint
it's the
job.
same. Yeah, yeah. Same with BMW with the M and all of this. And I'm just like going, look, I get it, and I understand it. I just like I don't see the point or the relevance to build a
I don't
special
either.
one, right?
Yeah, I don't either. But then
And
again, they sell so many now. It's not like it's not like the '90s where they put 25 of them out. They're selling them by the thousands.
look, they are right, but to a very small selected cohort that can afford it.
But they're selling a lot of them. I mean, they're selling
Yeah.
a piss pot of Ducati sells as many specials or R's, right? R's than MV sells all year because they only sell like
I know,
10,000
Look,
bikes.
that's just a different branding and I suppose appeal. But it's like the way I kind of look at it is like how many M1s go out to the R1s. Do you know what I mean? And there's a correlation there, and I don't know. I hate seeing these fucking special bikes coming out, and then they base a bike off a special bike rather than the factory bike. Because for me, just because it. Do you remember? Do you ever watch what's the name the cars? They go. It's not NASCAR. Well, you could call it NASCARs, right?
Mhm.
But like all it is a body on top. Do you know what I mean?
NASCAR, yeah.
Yeah, NASCAR, but
It's a
there's
shell.
it's just a shell, and I'm just like all that bike is that I'm looking at is a shell of what the fairings of a road bike. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you, except for one thing. When they have to do it, when Ducati has 1,000 cc's for the R, because because of environmental
Yeah.
regulations, you can't blame them for that one. I mean, if they have to put you can't blame them for having to go to 1,100 for the mainstream bike because the cost of putting that of the environmental crap is so goddamn high. It
But
costs a
that's-
lot to make them pass the
I know that, but other manufacturers are doing it. Do you know what I mean?
no. They're
They are.
there, but you're also paying through the nose for it. It's just a way to have it so the cost comes down. It really is
And I get that. Do you know what I mean? But I
for
get
the
it.
consumer.
But then I look at, and I know you probably don't know about this racing series, but you have super twins. So you have production twins and super twins, right? And Production Twins was like based off 650s and ER6s and all of this, right? It's supposed to be a cheap man's form of racing, right?
Right.
And then, like in Production Twins, you can't really change anything, right? But then Super Twins, right, which was based off of, how would you say, a gentleman's racing thing.
Right.
I was looking there, like a Patton Super Twin there, right? Patton Motorcycles. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah, of course. You know me. I heard everything.
Yeah.
You're lucky I didn't known one.
The 650 ones that they race around the Isle of Man TT, right? 39,000 sterling. So what? 40.
I can't see that either.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, everyone likes to go out and fucking enjoy their bikes, like, but when things are being pushed out of people's, road bike relevance also has pocket relevance in my view.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, if a bike is a fucking super duper special that you could never afford, then make it look like it's fucking something special. Do you know what I mean?
I do not get when you have one, you have that box stock class you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody comes along and says, well, let's make it almost a box stock class, and we'll let it go a little bit different. And that little bit of difference off of this box stock class costs double what the bike cost. So what's the point? They're not getting anything out of it, really. Not much out of it in the difference on the track.
And this is why you're seeing an awful lot of 700s come out now, right? And stuff like this. And like, Joe, the Aprilia 660, that out of the box is like 110 or 105 brake horsepower, right?
Yeah, number one selling sport bike in Europe.
If you were to try and get 105 horsepower out of an ER6 or like a Suzuki SV 650, you are paying a good 6-8 grand just for the engine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here you have a Aprilia giving you a bike with Olin suspension.
Yeah, you can't blame Aprilia for that. You can't blame Aprilia for that. I mean, really.
Oh no, but like for me, that's affordable racing, right? But then it goes into the what is it, the Super Twins and shit.
Yeah,
you can do anything, like, do you know what I mean? But
right.
Anyway.
Oh, but I was going to tell you, get this: the CBR 1000 RRR has. They barely, you have these comparison tests, every day they always have it, all the European and all the things. I've seen, they had like, say, I think it was 5 comparison tests I've seen on the internet. They broken down on 4. Like they only waited through one on 44 teeth without blowing up, right?
Right, yeah.
Because the thing overheats. I've seen 4 of them in my life. Here, right? 3 of them were blown up on the side of the road. 1 was on the showroom floor. Because the oil, the lines of the oil coolers are melting off. All right, the return lines are snapping. The ECUs are frying, and you can't touch the ECUs, by the way. Because anyhow, well, it doesn't even pull as hard as a 600. But anyhow, now it gets so hot, they have a problem. So what do? Honda sends a notice to their owners and says, this motorcycle was made for track use. Based for track use, do not ride it under 55 miles an hour. You spend $30,000 and you can't ride it around town. That was the cure for we're going to fix the heat problem. We got it down. Driving over 55 mile an hour, you bought it. It's a track, you knew it was a sport bike. Yeah, no shit. I wanted to have to, drive it around town sometime. What has happened to Honda? That's just my mouth hit the ground.
I think it solves the problem.
Yeah, it solved the problem. It solved the problem for them. They put it all together and went, oh shit, how are we going to fix this? And somebody went, you can't. We have to take the whole bike apart. Yeah. What are you going to do? Well, just tell them, fuck, you bought a sport bike, you're stuck with it. Yeah. I said, oh my God.
It's a track bike and there's no warranty.
And you got people beating the drum. Oh, 30 years ago, they were a dependable bike. Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
And on that bombshell, I think we're going to wrap it up there for today. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our ranting. We'll catch up with you again next week.
Take it easy, folks. Hasta la vista.
Have a good one.